Hello again. Hopefully this will be a short video to basically describe some of the problems that you might have with getting into the Xbox scene at this late stage. So on my right is an original Xbox. Now I did buy this at the time, bought it brand new, and it worked really well, and I decided to pop it into storage and get this out a few years later. In the meantime, this box I managed to get at a car boot sale, and I thought, okay, great, I can do a soft mod on this one because I'd like to experiment and do something different. So I picked this up at the time for around £5, so that was great. And I actually did do a soft mod on this box. Now, unfortunately, both of these boxes have the Samsung drives, and I really should have thought about doing a soft mod on my original Xbox, which I didn't do because both of these drives in these two Xboxes now have failed. So just to show you, I'll turn this one on here. So this is able to boot, and I'm able to play games on this one because in hindsight I did do a soft mod on it, and basically I was able to put stuff on here, put Xbox Media Center. You can FTP into this as well, so that's good. So you can basically download loads of Xbox games and you can copy them across your network from your PC, and then you can fire this up and play games. So as you can see, it's just got the standard Xbox Media Center screen. So one thing to show on these is the Samsung drives are notorious for sticking. So if I go to open this up, it can. So the good way to open it is just to give it a bit of a tap right above the DVD drive, and you can tell it's a Samsung because it's got these notches inside the tray, and what really makes it stand out is having these two notches. Now, as far as I'm aware, the Samsung drives were used throughout the life of the Xbox, and there were other other models of DVD drive, and these were Thompson, Philips and Hitachi. Now I was looking around to see if I could source DVD drives on their own that worked, so I could obviously put these into this one in particular, so I could then do a soft mod and start using this machine as well. Unfortunately, I couldn't find anything, so that's a bit of a shame. What I did find though was plenty of people selling Xboxes online, and some of those are a bit hit and miss, so you really are taking a bit of a punt. But I'm going to show you what I managed to pick up now. So I've got this Xbox alongside, and you can see that the actual finish is a bit different. This is a later one, so this is more kind of glossy, I would say, and this is more of a matte finish. So there is a slight difference there in the casing. The other difference is the drive as well. So let's just fire it up. Go straight to open the DVD tray, and here it's telling me that it is a different drive entirely, and this is a Thompson drive. I powered it up, put the discs in, and yeah, it's working fine. So this is actually playing the Xbox games that I've got on DVD, the original ones, and that was a bit of a bonus there. And the other bonus is, so I bought this as not working on eBay, and I got this as well. So this is a like an RCD sort of surge power adapter, which I don't know if it was a dedicated one for Xbox or if someone, a third party one. I guess it's third party, but anyway, that's the Xbox one there. And the thing that attracted me to the actual listing for this one was the fact that it came with this huge Duke controller. So it's absolutely massive, and just to show you the difference alongside, there you go. So this is obviously the more common one that's found, and I thought, well, you know, if the DVD drive's not working or I can't get any luck with the Xbox at all, then at least I've got myself a fantastic controller. an absolutely fantastic controller there. So my next purchase was this crystal Xbox, and this was sold as not working. When I switched it on, it was doing some really weird sort of cycling with the power supply, and it actually started to smell really nasty. So I quickly took the power out and I kind of ventilated the room and left it for a while. I then went ahead and took out the screws, and there was only 2 screws in this one, so obviously someone had been inside here before, and I started to have that feeling that I wasn't going to get anywhere with it. Anyway, I did find it had the original drive in there, so the one you can see in there now, well, you might not be able to see, but the one in there now is one that I've put in. I'll explain why. So what I was able to do is take these things out and take out the power supply, which is on this side, okay, and I found underneath the power supply a loose screw that had just been floating around, and that must have been shorting out. So I removed that, reassembled it, checked for any damage to the board, and luckily it seems to be fine and it seems to be working. So so that was okay. So the main issue was this Xbox, it didn't start, so it stayed on the start screen, and because it's a modded Xbox, a hard mod, it had a label in the corner at Evox, so it just stuck there, and I thought, okay, you know, I'm not getting anywhere there. So I decided to have a look a bit further. I gave this a bit of a clean because I thought it'd be a useful thing to do, and I also downloaded a disc online, and with the disc online, it was a Hexen 2018 disc. I was able to then boot up, and with a new hard disk in there, I was able to go through all of the various menus and recreate everything I needed for this to begin working. So that was pretty cool. So I've managed to obtain 2 Xboxes that were meant to be broken, and I was able to fix both of those, and now I know I've got 2 DVD drives that at least do read discs, and I should be able to go forward and make use of the one in the box, which is my original Xbox. So I've taken out the drives. I started with taking out the hard disk side first, and I've just lent it on the side here, and then the DVD drive comes out this side. So this board is actually fine, so it hasn't got the capacitor on here for me to take out, and it would have also some blobs here which would have enabled the board to be flashed. So that was to do with having a different bias in terms of the starting up, and in theory it should all run without needing to be connected to a DVD drive. Now with the soft mod machines, don't throw away the drive if it doesn't work, because the drive needs to be present for it to boot up, and this obviously was the original drive which I replaced on this particular one. So let's close that back up again. Just showing you there. So about the flicker on the screen. And there we go, straight into its menu. So using the Hexen tools from the dashboard, I'm able to just confirm that this is a 1.6 board, which means that I'm okay, it doesn't have that capacitor. And for anyone interested, that's the system settings. It would be good to know actually if on this box I can disconnect the IDE and run it without the disk drive. So maybe there's just a setting that I'm not seeing in the setup somewhere. So I'm using the standard IDE cable here, and this is only a 250 gigabyte drive. You can go higher. I believe the limit, and you may have to change a few things in BIOS, but you can go up to 2 terabyte disks with obviously a converter in there as well to go from the IDE to SATA part of the drive. So that's something that you can do, but it's advisable to change the cable, and you can get ones that have more connectors basically, so you can go for a much better cable. So this is the one of the ones I got hold of, which is an older Xbox, and I showed it to you a bit earlier in the video. Never been taken apart, so the screws are located in these 4 corners and also here and here. So I'm going to do that now and have a look at the PCB board for that battery capacitor. As I take these screws out, it's worth saying that my experience of the Samsung drive hasn't been too good. Now that may have been different if I had obviously kept the Xboxes up running over all those years, over the last 20 years, but it's something that I didn't do. I have cleaned the lasers in both of those Samsung drives, and I've tried to lubricate as well, and unfortunately it hasn't made any difference. So I don't think there's anything particularly that you can tweak on those, and I have a suspicious feeling it's probably a combination of things. So it's possibly the laser that's been affected by the storage, but it could equally be the PCB board. So maybe there's some surface mount components on there which have deteriorated to such an extent that it's just not able to lock on and read the disc. So anyone else got any ideas or information about the Samsung drives and how they can possibly be fixed? I'd like to know if possible. I'm also aware that you can basically use PC drives of certain model numbers, including Samsung, I believe, and LG, and you can flash the firmware, but it's a little bit elaborate in that you have to put in certain wires and trails, so you have to do a little bit of soldering if you want things to work, like the button on the front to eject the disc, and yeah, and just a general sort of sensing that the drive is there. And also you have to sort of bodge the actual fitting of the drive somewhat, so that may affect the outside appearance of your Xbox. Here's the location of the 2 screws that have got to come out. Let's see if we can now get this bad boy apart. So we've got a slightly different drive in here, and this is the Thomson. So I've got myself a Phillips and a Thomson. This is the Thomson drive, still working surprisingly, so 2002, and this is probably an older, even older drive than this one. And it seems to have some dampering there as well, so they're both Seagates anyway. Okay, so there's some more screws in here. So there's one in here, and there's one in here, and I think, yeah, oh, one here as well. So 3 screws to take out. Trying to give it a bit of wiggle room. There we go. Okay. Everything's got to be pulled out kind of straight. There's a nice bit of metal there. Okay, let's have a look. Complete with dust. And I believe, if I look at my notes here, we are looking at this one. And surprisingly, is it actually leaked anything? I can't tell. I'm going to leave it for now, so at least I can see the condition of it. And what I will do is snip it off at some stage. So I wouldn't go as far as taking this board out. I would definitely just try to bend that over and use some snipper sort of clippers to kind of snip the legs. I am looking at the right one, aren't I? Yeah, definitely. It's the bigger one, isn't it? Yep, that's the one. Okay. So yeah, as you can see, pretty dirty, but pretty functional still, and surprisingly with the Thompson drive. So I'm just going to point, it's that one there. That is the power battery capacitor, essentially the one that gets stored up and then retains the clock information. That's the one to have a look at. So if you do have an Xbox, this is quite an old one because you can see it's got an extra fan there on the heatsink, which was different to the crystal one. So this is a much older board. That's what you have to look for, and look underneath. Look kind of underneath there. While I've got this apart, I'm gonna give it a clean. As you can see, it's pretty filthy. I'll blow this out with a air duster. I'll go and do that now. So this Xbox seemed to be in working condition, which is great, and it worked from the start. So no work involved on this one at all. The work that I did have to do was really on the crystal box, where it had a failure with the DVD drive, and that was basically to do with the head being stuck. So that's a Phillips drive. So the Phillips drive in the crystal Xbox needed to be opened up, and for me to move physically the head about a bit to free it, and then afterwards the drive could be used, and also the hard disk, which wasn't working. I took that out, put a new hard disk in. So yeah, so that's, I had to do a couple more things with the crystal, but luckily it was this one that I didn't have to do anything at all. So this was sold as being faulty, and in fact it wasn't faulty at all. So it had a working Thompson drive. As you recall, I had the big Duke controller, which is what I wanted in the first place, and also this RCD and another video cable actually, which I've got upstairs. So so that was good. So that was a good find there. Something for spares or repair did actually work. So hope you enjoyed watching this video. Sorry if it was a little bit rambling today, and I'll do a bit more in the future. Bye for now.